Lapine. To explore your options and start a new lease on lifestyle. Tour today.
The Ottawa Board of Trade has been the voice of local business for over 165 years. They know that the success of your business drives economic growth and community prosperity. They support businesses of all sizes in every sector through advocacy, programs, resources, network, and community building events. Be stronger together. Join them for a chance to grow your business.
Standard performance returns at skylinewealth.ca/volatility.
City News 1130
Is CKWX AM
Vancouver. Canada's #1 for breaking news. This is City News everywhere.
Hello, it's Saturday, February 4th. I'm Maria Binka. Here's what's making news right now. The Chinese spy balloon floating over the United States has been shot down. Eastern Canada is seeing record-breaking cold winter weather, but it's expected to warm up tomorrow. And the 65th Annual Grammy Awards is back tomorrow night. We're going to take a look at what to expect.
Some 3-on-3 fun on the ice in Florida today for the NHL All-Star Games, and Bianca Andreescu forced out of the Thailand Open with an injury. Sports at 15.
And coming up in business, data shows our holiday shopping patterns were very different this year, and weather was just one of the factors at play.
Those stories and more are coming up in 2 minutes.
You're listening to City News. Ottawa fire crews were called to an apartment building in the 400 block of Daly Avenue. Just after 2 in the morning, crews arriving to find flames in the fire escape near a bedroom. They entered the building, gaining access to that unit, and were able to bring that fire under control around 2:30 in the morning. The building was searched. All residents were safely evacuated and were kept warm in an OC Transpo bus. One person was injured. Ottawa fire crews were called to a fire at Algonquin College overnight. Security reported alarms and smoke in one of the residents' buildings. The first crews arrived on scene just before 3:30. While on the first floor, they found heavy smoke in the hallway and brought that fire under control in a few minutes. Students were already evacuated and sheltered in a nearby campus building. No injuries were reported. The cold temperature is delaying the start of most activities on the first day of Winterlude, but as the temperature begins to swing back to seasonal norms this afternoon, most events will get underway. Gates will open at the Snowflake Kingdom at Jacques Cartier Park in Gatineau at noon, and the launch of the Winterlude National Ice Carving Championships on Spark Street back in action today. The OLG snow bus service also resumes at noon. For more information on activities and today's and weekend events, just head to the Winterlude website. This is City News 1011.
I'm City News weather specialist John Wilson. Sunshine yields to cloud this afternoon. A weak disturbance crossing Sunday will offer some light snow late today. Not a whole lot. The extreme cold warning will not recur. The temperature will actually climb tonight to -8 overnight with light snow, 5 centimeters or so. Some leftovers tomorrow will leave it at 1 degree above freezing. Then sunny and -6 for Monday. And more snow, light snow, wet snow, 3 degrees Tuesday. Today's high, -14.
This just in, the Chinese spy balloon floating over the United States has been shot down. A U.S. official confirmed to CNN that the balloon was shot down over the Atlantic Ocean. The balloon crossed over Canada before floating its way into Montana. China has said that the balloon is a wayward weather airship, but the U.S. and Canada aren't buying that explanation, accusing China of spying. A similar balloon has been spotted flying over Latin America. Environment Canada says an extreme cold front across eastern Canada will continue into the weekend.
Meteorologists say this cold snap that saw temperatures feeling like -40 to -50 degrees Celsius in many areas yesterday brought risks of frostbite and hypothermia. Now, frostbite can cause permanent tissue damage, necessitating amputation of fingers and toes. Hypothermia can cause death. And that has prompted officials in several communities from Ontario through to the Atlantic provinces to scramble to provide shelter for vulnerable people. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
Upwards of 25 million Americans on the East Coast are also facing a once-in-a-generation Arctic blast this weekend. Reporter Victor Oquendo has the latest.
Parts of New England expecting wind chills at or near 60 below zero. Outside Springfield, Massachusetts, as winds gusted above 50 miles per hour. A tree crashing onto a car, killing a 6-month-old girl inside. The woman driving rushed to the hospital. In Boston, pilots battling high winds as they landed at Logan Airport.
Deadly wind chills of below freezing are hovering over Philadelphia through Maine, and record lows are being recorded on top of Mount Washington in New Hampshire. Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino wants the RCMP officers to stop using two crowd control tools, sponge rounds and CS gas.
The RCMP won't say if it will follow those instructions, and it continues to use both tools, as do other large police forces in Canada. The union representing RCMP officers says removing the crowd control tools from their arsenal would raise public and police officer safety concerns. The police force has recently faced criticism for continuing to use a controversial neck hold that the minister said he wanted banned last year. One activist says that the fact the RCMP is ignoring the calls to stop using certain types of force shows that police have a big accountability problem. Brenda Molina Navidad, The Canadian Press.
Looking stateside, a Wisconsin man convicted of shooting at a group of children who threw snowballs at his car in 2020 has received a 16-year prison sentence. Local TV news stations report that prosecutors had asked for a 25-year prison sentence after jurors found William Carson guilty of 2 counts of first-degree reckless injury and 5 counts of first-degree reckless endangering safety in November. According to court records, the children were throwing snowballs at passing cars on Milwaukee North Side in January of 2020. A driver later identified as Carson turned his car around, got out, and fired a gun at the group of kids who ran away. 2 were hit by bullets. Back in Canada, a Calgary man says he wanted to buy a phone but ended up feeling bullied and harassed just because of his Ukrainian nationality. This comes as several Ukrainian refugees still face prejudice in Canada.
For Ukrainian newcomers fleeing the war and resettling in Canada has not been an easy journey. While some get support from government agencies, others look towards the community. Alex Garin, who left Ukraine for Calgary 9 months ago, says so far the community has been really helpful, but a recent interaction with a phone seller has left him baffled.
He decided to ask me if I'm Ukrainian. I'm like, yeah, I'm Ukrainian, but for me, it's like it doesn't matter at all, like why you are, when you're just buying a phone. But that gentleman said that it actually matters for him, and he assumed that all Ukrainian people are ill, mentally sick, and all the things like that. That was like unexpected to see.
In Calgary, Hannah Said, City News.
One advocacy group is using QR codes to highlight an ongoing crisis for migrant workers in Canada.
We're putting stickers up in restaurants, and which says the secret menu on it and a QR code. So when restaurant goers are there, they think, hey, this is this new restaurant secret menu. When they scan it, they come upon something that looks like a menu, but each menu item reveals a story of exploitation and abuse of migrant farm workers.
Syed Hassan is the executive director of Migrant Workers Alliance for Change, a group that empowers migrant workers to fight for fair treatment in jobs that are instrumental in putting food on our tables.
Anything that you are consuming is likely been harvested, packaged, produced, planted perhaps, driven by migrant farm workers.
Hassan says migrant workers are particularly vulnerable to exploitation because of their precarious immigration status. For City News, I'm Dosha Dorman.
The International Maritime Organization has agreed to revisions of its guidelines on reducing underwater noise from ships, including references to indigenous knowledge. Inuit and environmental organizations say further measures are needed. Inuit Circumpolar Council Vice Chair Lisa Hokerwaluk says Inuit people are affected.
There's a population of narwhals that have been disturbed by ships passing through the community near Pond Inlet, which we call Miktimatavik. That has impacted how Inuit harvest because they've had to go now longer distances because narwhals have moved from a traditional area that they spent time in.
Inuit Circumpolar Council is calling for specific measures to reduce underwater noise in the Arctic. They say mandatory regulations are needed. And the 65th Annual Grammy Awards is back tomorrow night with star-studded performances, longtime favorites getting their first-time nod, and a historic moment for Beyonce. Our Marie Gomez joins us with more on what to expect on music's biggest night.
Will ABBA finally get some Grammy recognition this year? Nearly 4 decades after the Swedish supergroup released hits like Dancing Queen and Waterloo, the group is nominated for 4 Grammy Awards, and they've only been nominated for 1 before this year, and that was last year. Leading the pack in nominations this year is Beyonce. Queen Bee has a total of 9 nominations, bringing her overall total of Grammy noms to 88, making her the most nominated female artist ever. And she's now tied with the most nominated male artist, who so happens to be her husband, Jay-Z. All the Grammy excitement kicks off tomorrow at 8 p.m. Marie Gomez, City News.
And we're going to have a local update in just a minute.
No matter where it happens,
Coast to coast.
this is City News everywhere.
On City News 101.1 FM and 1310 AM.
Get the hottest deals for the coldest streets, only at Streetswear Kids. Zip up for a better night's sleep on the street with the pavement parka. Step on broken glass with Kevlar kicks. Panhandle in a cashless society with the Tap Me Teddy. Now 20% off, because the truth is, 20% of Canadians facing homelessness are youth. This winter, wear something that actually makes a difference. Buy a toque at raisingtheroof.org and help end youth homelessness.
Introducing the new Lotto 649 with 2 jackpots on every ticket. The classic $5 million jackpot and the growing gold ball jackpot of $24 million. Play the new Lotto 649 for a chance to win the classic jackpot or the gold ball jackpot of either $24 million or the guaranteed $1 million prize. Find your possible. Buy in store today or at old.ca.
You're listening to City News. Busy weekend in store. The Ontario Winter Games are underway in Renfrew and in Ottawa and in Gatineau. It's time for Winterlude. Cold temperatures delaying the start of most activities on Friday, but as the temperatures begin to swing back to seasonal norms, some of those events and activities have reopened. Snowflake Kingdom at Jacques Cartier Park reopening at noon in Gatineau, and the Winterlude National Ice Carving Championships are underway at Spark Street. The OLG Snow Bus service also resuming. For more details, head to the Winterlude website. Ottawa fire crews were called to an apartment building in the 400 block of Daly Avenue. Just after 2 in the morning, crews arriving to find flames in the fire escape near a bedroom. They entered the building, gaining access to that unit, and were able to bring that fire under control around 2:30 in the morning. The building was searched. All residents were safely evacuated and were kept warm in an OC Transpo bus. 1 person was injured. Ottawa fire crews were called to a fire at Algonquin College overnight. Security reported alarms and smoke in one of the residents' buildings. The first crews arrived on scene just before 3:30. Along the first floor, they found heavy smoke in the hallway and brought that fire under control in a few minutes. Students were already evacuated and sheltered in a nearby campus building. No injuries were reported.